Hello, this is Sarah Tuberty, your host from Disarming Disability. Enjoy the following program on Public House Media.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is Josh Powers.
And I am John Moss.
And we're the hosts of The Cheap Seats, brought to you by Public House Media each and every Tuesday. We're here to talk sports.
And anything else you can think of that has to do with sports. Bottom line is, we're your conduit. We are fans just like you. We're talking about the stuff that we know that you're talking about around the water cooler.
Once you've finished listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media, we hope you'll come and check out our show, The Cheap Seats, every Tuesday on all of your favorite podcast platforms. You'll find us way up here in The Cheap Seats.
History is happening in High Point as professional baseball has come to Furniture City. Don't miss any of the action from strikeouts,
3-2 cold strike 3 right at the knees,
to web gems,
stabbed by Alfonso, he spins, throws to first, and the pick by Bichette rounds out a beautiful play.
to home runs.
High fly ball deep left field. This one is gone. Get up and get out. Tyler Ladendorf.
And of course, every Rockin' victory.
The pitch. Swing, strikeout. The Rockers win. The first win in Rockers history here at home.
Interviews, recaps, and insights from across the Atlantic League. It's all fresh off the Rockers.
Hello and welcome to the number one podcast about the High Point Rockers, the official podcast of the High Point Rockers, the Off the Rocker podcast, the hottest pod in the Atlantic League. I'm Kevin McMahon, one half of the High Point Rocker broadcast team. My broadcast partner, Kendrick Foots, will be joining us later in the episode, as well as the media relations coordinator for the Rockers, James Jackson, as we get to sit down with Chase Huchingson. Thank you so much for joining us. Can you believe we're winding down as the playoff push continues here for the High Point Rockers? The regular season is almost over. It's the first day of September when I record this, which is hard to believe, but that's true. That's where we are. And I'm so happy that you're here with me. So thanks for joining us here this week on the Off the Rockers podcast. When we spoke to you last, we just talked to you after a big York Revolution series win for the High Point Rockers, and they had Monday off, and the New Britain Bees came into town. So we'll start there. It was two tough games for the Rockers, two close ones against the Bees, both games decided by just one run, and we talked about it when they came in. Is there a hotter team in the Atlantic League than the New Britain Bees? Especially last week, they came in red hot. Rockers did what we always know that they will do. They never give up. They put up a great fight, and they almost won those two games. It was the New Britain Bees who actually picked those up by one run, and some positive things that happened there for the Rockers was the play of Matt Jones had a big hit. There's a bunch of guys who had some big hits, and we continue to see great play from Jared Mitchell, but we saw some great stuff from Quincy Lattimore again, who hit the 20th home run of the season for him. He was the first one to hit 20 home runs in a High Point Rocker uniform, and Richie Schaefer had a great week as well. He came into the weekend with 19, and I think he left with 22 home runs. He hit 22 home runs over the weekend, picked up three big ones. I think he picked up three in like 2 days, 2 in one game. He was on fire. One of the best weeks we've seen him have as a High Point Rocker, which is saying something because he has had some great weeks, some great games. And so with Richie Schaefer's bat heating up, this is the perfect time to have that happen as we approach this the end of the regular season. The playoffs are right around the corner, and we're in that playoff push. This is the perfect time to have guys stepping up and making big plays and having big moments. And Richie Schaefer and Quincy Lattimore definitely did that. You want to talk about a moment. We had that on Thursday night. The Rockers needed to win. They didn't want to get swept by the Bees, and they did not. And a big reason why they were able to pick up the win was Joe Van Meter. Van Meter was phenomenal on Thursday night. We've seen him have so many great starts. This might have been his best, which they're hard to compare because he's had so many great ones, but he was phenomenal on Thursday night and came up in a big spot. And they also got more big offense from guys they needed to. Quincy Lattimore played a big role in that one as well. I think Hector Gomez, if he didn't have a big hit on Thursday, he definitely had some big ones throughout the series. So the Rockers got some big offense early and were able to hold on and get the win on Thursday night. They traveled to the Sugar Land Skeeters, and right now, as you listen to this on Monday, we wanted to make sure you had this podcast ready to listen to it on Monday as the Rockers have a game September 2nd at 4 o'clock on Labor Day, an early start time. We wanted to have this so if you want to listen to this on the way to the ballpark or on the way to work, or if you have to work to Monday, so you can listen to this on the way to work, and then you can come out early for the game, or if you have the day off for Labor Day, we wanted to have something you can listen to maybe in between cooking out or going for your last couple of lake days as summer winds down. Have something you can listen to, before this huge series against the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs. But with that being said, tonight's game against Sugar Land Skeeters, tonight being Sunday, starts at 7 o'clock in Texas, so 7 o'clock Eastern time. So we were not going to be able to have this to you in time for Monday morning. So that is why we're recording it now. So we're hoping for a big Rocker win tonight, and we will recap that during the pregame show for you tomorrow when we go live for the game Kendrick and I against the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs. We'll recap quickly the two games against Sugar Land Skeeters. The Sugar Land Skeeters have won by multiple runs, so the Skeeters play well at home, and the Rockers actually have played fairly well against Sugar Land Skeeters. If you remember, early in the season, they had that really long road trip to Sugar Land where they played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They played 6 games against them in the last week of June. And I think they took 5 out of 6, 4 out of 6. They took a lot of those games against them. So the Rockers have had success down there in Sugar Land, but the Skeeters playing really good baseball right now, and they've won the 30th and the 31st games of August. Rockers hoping to take one here in the series before they come back again tomorrow. And let's take a look at the standings, and then we'll get you ready for what we have to come for the rest of the week here as the Rockers get ready to come back for a 4-game series against the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs. The Rockers trail the Long Island Ducks right now in the standings. They're 3 games behind the Long Island Ducks, as the Ducks, as we know, they've continued to pick up some big wins. The York Revolution have a nice little lead against the Sugar Land Skeeters. While the Skeeters have been winning, the York Revolution have continued to win as well. So pretty good stuff by the York Revolution. They're looking like they're in pretty good shape to try to win this second half. And if they do, that's good because it takes them out of the wild card conversation. Your Rockers still have a wild card lead, and really the only team they're worried about in the wild card right now is the Somerset Patriots, who they still have a 5-game lead against. If the Ducks win the second half, the Rockers are in, most likely, because they're looking out for what the York Revolution are going to do. But if the York Revolution are having to worry about if they're in on wild card, that will probably mean that the Sugar Land Skeeters have won, because the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs trail by 5 or 6 games here against the York Revolution. I think they trail by 6 games to the York Revolution. So unless the Blue Crabs jump both the Sugar Land Skeeters and the York Revolution, then that will, if the York Revolution don't win the second half, that pretty much ensures that the Sugar Land Skeeters have won. And that means they've won both halves, and that will open up a wild card slot. And if the Rockers are worried about a wild card slot, that means that the Ducks have won. Then the Ducks have won. So if that happens, both teams are in. So what the York Revolution, what the Rockers are trying to do right now, they're making sure they win the second half, or that the Sugar Land Skeeters win and the Ducks win. That way they're in on the wild card. The only way High Point and York don't get in on wild card is if the Bees win the Liberty Division in the second half, or if the Blue Crabs win the Freedom Division in the second half. But both of those teams trail by 5 or 6 games. So the best way, that's kind of your playoff scenario. I know it's a little bit confusing, but all that to be said, the Rockers are still in great shape. If the Rockers can get some big wins, of course we're going to be scoreboard watching a little bit. You got to have some people lose to try to help you out. But if the Rockers can pick up some big wins, tonight's would be a big win. But especially at home with that High Point Rocker crowd, being able to help them and get them through the other side, they're going to be in really good shape. And we only have 10 more home regular season games, so the Rockers are hoping to make the most of those when we come back. And we have a little bit of news for you, then we'll get you ready for the interview with Chase Huchingson. The Rockers have added 2 pitchers. One is a former Southern Maryland Blue Crab in Craig Stem, and the other is a former Long Island Duck in John Brownell. So that is who the Rockers are adding. They're adding some more arms, so a little extra help for their bullpen and for their starting rotation. A guy who's been so helpful for them this year out of the bullpen has been Chase Huchingson, and we were lucky enough to sit down with him this week, get to know him a little bit better, and talk to him about the year he's had, especially the great second half he's had. So let's go to that right now. Here he is. Here's Mr. Chase Huchingson. Hey, Rockers fans. Kevin McMahon, we got Kendrick Fruits and James Jackson here with Chase Huchingson. And Chase, we want to start with some of the important stuff first, so I'll start here. As someone who is bald, I really shouldn't be talking about people's hair, but under the radar, some of the best hair on the team. Now that I got you here, we got you right in front of me. So comments on that distinction.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I guess I was gifted with good hair.
Yeah, I was not. So
I do my best to make it look good.
Yeah,
when
definitely.
I get out of bed in the morning. So
yeah, definitely top 3. The headband definitely compliments it. Dante was here; he was running away with it. But now I say it's a 3-horse race now. Sam Runyon, Hector Gomez, and Chase Huchingson. That's where I got.
Well, thank you. I think Dante definitely had it when he was here.
It was no debate.
Well, thanks for having me in the running. I appreciate it.
Let's go to the pitching here. You've had some pretty good outings here recently. What's been feeling good? What's been working for you?
Just really kind of my sinker slide. Everything really has been working here and there. It's been a fun year here, and we've been able to put up some good numbers in our bullpen and as a pitching staff. So it's been great, and I don't really know what to say besides it's been great playing in front of the fans here for the first year, and I think that's added a little, giddy up and some of the players here for the Rockers. So I got to shout out to them and everyone that's helped make this happen. So.
And this will be my last question for a little while, then I'll throw it over to you guys. But in the 7th, 8th, 9th inning, those late innings when the bullpen is most likely in play, there becomes a feeling in the ballpark when you guys are really on and the team has a 2-run lead, a 3-run lead that can be pretty safe because the bullpen can be really locked in. I think 3 All-Stars came out of the bullpen. So you guys are, that must be a lot of pressure, but you guys seem to come through, when you're called upon.
Yeah, the kind of, the later, our bullpen is awesome. And when we come in a close game, we have a sense of urgency about us and the way we pitch, I think. And everyone brings brings something to the table for our bullpen. And I think when we are on, which we have been for the most part all season, and when we're on, I think our team is really unbeatable because we can score runs, and if our bullpen shuts it down at the end of the game, I think we're one of the best teams in the league.
When we were talking to Jamie Keefe last week, he was talking about one of the strengths in the bullpen was the fact that they could really plug anybody in any situation, and they have total confidence in that pitcher being able to come in and do the job. Do you have a favorite situation or a situation where you feel like you come in better as a setup guy, middle reliever? What do you feel like is the most comfortable for you this year or in general?
Well, I feel like earlier in the season, Jamie was kind of using me with people on base, and I you always want to pitch really good when you have a teammate's runners on base. And I've been pretty successful all year at that, and I've kind of had some hiccups here in the past of kind of letting some runs score. But any situation that he brings me in, I'm going to try and pitch at the best of my ability. So whether it be immediately after the starter in 6th, 7th inning, or at the late inning of a tied ball game, whatever it is, I just enjoy being in there. If it's a close game, obviously it's a little bit more enjoyable to pitch with that kind of monkey on your back, so to speak. Like you can't give up the lead, or there's the pressure situations are always fun to pitch in, and especially if you pitch good. So, but yeah, any situation Jamie Hughes is in, I enjoy and answer the bell. So, answer the call.
This is a two-part question. When you said you're in on the pressure situations, how do you mentally prepare yourself to go in and deliver? Because there's a lot on the line every time. I believe the last 2 games we've had against New Britain were high pressure situations. How do you go in and mentally prepare yourself for that?
That's funny. I mean, obviously, 10 years of playing professional baseball has built me up to a certain, I guess, routine or whatever you want to call it. And mentally, the mental preparation that I have is maybe a little unorthodox. I think I visualize a lot in the mornings, like when I wake up, and I think a lot of good players visualize, whether it's, I don't know, whatever they do. But I just kind of mentally put myself in situations. I've worked with a couple, sports psychologists when I was with the Mets, and they were pretty good. And I took some tidbits from them here and there. And I think visualization is a big key for people in big stress situations, because once you're actually in that situation, you've kind of, like I said, you've mentally put yourself there. So once you're actually physically there, you can just worry about the physical aspects of it and not worry about the moment getting you or getting the best of you, so to speak.
Now, I'm in the dugout more than Kevin and Kendrick usually are, being that they're calling the game. But when I'm down there, I see that you, when you're done pitching or when you're in the process of inning changes and all that, you're in the tunnel and you're preparing yourself for the next inning. And Frank Viola is usually in there either commenting on something, or how has he helped towards your improvement as a pitcher?
Well, Frank's got an unreal amount of experience, and just his resume is unbelievable. So to have his eyes on you, every time you pitch is a blessing, and it's awesome. And Frank's a great pitching coach. So him just seeing, what I'm doing, and maybe I'm not feeling that. So having his eyes on you, and you can talk to him, say, hey, what, am I staying back, or am I flying open, or am I on top of the ball? All these questions you have that maybe you're not exactly feeling on the mound, he can, relay that information about what he's seeing, and you can obviously make adjustments from there. So
this is less of a question and just something I want to bring up to you. I don't know if anyone's told you this, but I talk about him enough too, so I think I could give him a podcast shout out. But on Instagram, there's a guy, ALPB News. I don't know if you follow him, but he did, he's a writer, and he did series of most underrated players, and for the Rockers, you were the most underrated player that he highlighted, and then he had a fan vote head to head, and you made it all the way through. I'm pretty sure. You're second. Yeah. So, but you made it through a couple rounds of voting.
I saw that he had mentioned me. Yeah.
Yeah. So you are a guy, like we said, there was 3 All-Stars in the bullpen, and maybe you did have a little bit of a feeling of, maybe not you, but there was a feeling amongst fans that you were maybe an underrated guy, and in the second half, you've been a big, a big helper in the bullpen. Can you comment a little bit about that, maybe?
Well, I'm not familiar with who the guy is that runs the page. Or
I'm just kidding. I'm just
the underrated thing. I guess it's kind of a compliment, I guess, in a way, but I don't really care if someone holds a whatever you call it, a poll, or on that. So like I said, I'm just happy to be here. We have a great chemistry going around the bullpen, the pitching staff, everybody, and including the hitters too. We got some great guys on the team. So, if someone wants to recognize me, that's great. I appreciate that, but, if not, whatever. So.
Yeah, just want to bring it to your attention.
I made note that you were so underrated, you weren't even voted underrated, You're that good. Now,
and
thank you.
Just to jump in, I know sometimes that word has a negative connotation, but it's it's meant in a nice way.
Of course.
And
Underrated means sometimes the announcers and the fans can pay more attention because there's good stuff going on.
Definitely, a nice thing to say.
Yeah.
You know why that is, though, is because he's so quiet, but then when he goes on the mound, he's just so dominant all the time.
Yeah, he's making noise on the field.
Now, Chase, I'm just interested in knowing the family atmosphere. Is there one in the bullpen, and how is the atmosphere with all the pitchers in there? Do you guys just kind of work together as a unit to try and figure out what's going on against these batters?
Yeah, well, it's tough to say. We'll have some pitching meetings. Obviously, our whole pitching staff will go over the hitters. But during the game, when the bullpen's down there by themselves, we'll have our lineup and a few stat sheets and whatever, and we'll share our opinions on hitters all the time on how we think we can get them out the best and so on and so forth. So just having, like I said, the chemistry there. We have guys like Tolliver and Kelly that have been in the big leagues and other guys with a lot of experience too in professional baseball. So just having all those minds coming together is kind of the chemistry that we have going on down there, and we all have our good jokes and all that kind of stuff that I probably shouldn't be sharing with anybody but ourselves. But no, the chemistry down there is great. It's been awesome. It's been one of the best bullpens I've ever been a part of, honestly.
So we're, if I remember correctly, like 24, 23 games left in the regular season at this point, and a couple games behind the Ducks as far as winning the division goes, but a pretty nice cushion in the wild card right now. Obviously, you want to build on both of those, but what is the mindset right now as far as, you're right in the middle of the playoff hunt and trying to secure a spot to get into the postseason?
Yeah, there's a sense of urgency, obviously, around the clubhouse and with Jamie and everybody, we got to take advantage of these last few games and kind of seal our playoff spot. And that way we're not stressing those last few games, and who knows what can happen at the end. I've seen these the playoff pushes at the end, and it can get crazy at the end. So we want to, like I said, take advantage of these next games early and win, and like I said, get that playoff spot, and that's it. So
now we can switch it up a little bit. We may ask you one more baseball question, but we'll get to some more of the personality stuff to get to know you a little bit better. I always get made of every time because I ask the same question every time to open it up, but that's important to me. I care. What's on your iPod? What's your music? Do you have a music genre that you like the most, or a song or a band you've listened to lately that's really been getting you through?
I'm kind of a moody playlist guy, so it kind of depends on the mood, and I listen to a lot of Texas country, and I also listen to a bunch of rap and kind of the new school hip hop, whatever.
Who do you like?
Like EDM stuff. I like everybody. I really do. Obviously Drake is a big name, but gosh, I could go on for days. But with the Texas country, I like kind of Cody Johnson and Kit Moore and stuff like that. But it's a lot of when I'm getting ready for a game, I'm kind of going with the rap, upbeat music. And obviously you've heard the clubhouse. It gets kind of crazy in there. So that kind of music.
I like to ask the artist because I'll never not ask now because Miles Schroeder gave us Too Short when we asked. And I don't think I would have guessed Miles Schroeder was listening to Too Short, even though he's from the Bay. So I have to ask now.
Well, I think
that's funny.
The funniest one was when you asked that to Bowden, and he was just kind of like, I don't listen to anything.
You said you're a big Texas country guy. Are you a big George Strait guy?
Yeah, I love George Strait. Like I said, the playlists on my phone are crazy. I have George Strait all the way to like Kings of Leon, Red Hot Chili Peppers. It's almost everything but like jazz. You know what I mean?
Is there anyone that you would travel an extended distance to go see?
Of course. I actually just saw Florida Georgia Line. I was lucky enough to see them, and they've always been a big, I've always been a big fan of theirs. So, and I got to see them, and their show was awesome. But I would definitely try and go see them again, just because I love their music so much. They're one of my favorites. So, I would see them again, no doubt.
Okay, so this can be any sport, not just baseball. Anything you've ever played from the time you were a kid all the way up to now. What is your most embarrassing memory of playing a sport?
My most embarrassing memory? That's tough. I'd have to think about that one. A lot of sports memories in this brain. I'm trying to think. I had a collision when I was in like American Legion Ball or something with the shortstop. I was playing left field. I wouldn't call it really embarrassing. It was one of the most painful things. We collided, ended up breaking a couple ribs. And it was just obviously embarrassing that you collided, but the fact that I got hurt sucked on top of that. So, that's probably the top I'm trying to think right now. Obviously, like blowing a save or giving up a game is very embarrassing in my opinion, and I hate when that happens. So, I guess you could say somewhere around those lines, but I don't think I have like a specific one that really stands out.
I know you guys are pretty busy when it comes to having any extra leisure time, but when you do have some free time, what are some things that you like to do? And along the lines of like, what do you watch on TV? Like, do you binge watch anything? Do you have anything going that way, or you spare your time otherwise?
I go through my phases, I guess, of watching Netflix and what have you on that, but I'm more kind of an outdoors kind of guy. I enjoy fishing. In the off season, I enjoy hunting, kind of like Tolliver. We're obviously both from Arkansas. We love to duck hunt, and he gets to do it a lot more than I do, which I'm very jealous of all the time. But I just enjoy the outdoors. Being from Arkansas, I grew up, trout fishing and deer hunting and all that kind of stuff, and the off season's perfect for that. So every chance I get, I try and get outdoors. So
I'm a big fisherman. So what is the biggest fish you've caught so far?
The biggest fish I've ever caught? Oh, that's hard to say. I'm a big bass fisherman, so I think the biggest bass I've caught is like an 8-pounder.
I've only gotten 5. I didn't get that far.
Yeah, I was in Florida. They have a big bass down there.
So, if Kevin has a question that he always gets in trouble for asking over and over again, I have one too, and I'll go ahead and go with it. 3 places in the world you've never been to that you would love to visit.
3 places. I would say Australia would definitely be up there, and I've always wanted to go to Africa as well. So there's 2, and I've always thought kind of Thailand. That area looks unbelievable. Just the beaches and stuff out there. So I would say those would be my 3.
Like I've said earlier, that you're one of the most quiet guys I've probably ever met in this locker room, and that's
more of a description of all the loudmouths in there, all the guys who are a lot of personality.
When you look at who he's sitting next to in the clubhouse, it's Paul Clemens, and that's total.
It's a lot of personality.
Yeah, but how would you describe yourself to people who don't know you? How would you describe who Chase Huchingson is?
I would like. Well, that's a deep question. I would like people to think I'm a genuine overall kind of good guy, and I can come off quiet. I feel like sometimes just because I can be reserved, but there's times where I cannot be reserved too. And if people were to first meet me, I would just say that I'm a good guy, and I don't know. I don't even know how to answer that question.
James, I feel like you're trying to set him up for like a dating video or something.
So I'll go with. Is everybody good?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go last question here. Just we appreciate your time. But
Of course.
So with the playoffs coming up, we'll have you put. I'd like an analyst here. What do you think the Rockets need to do to put themselves in the best positions, or anything that jumps out to you? They go, I hope if we can do this better, if we can continue to do this well, we're going to be successful and get where we want to be.
Well, right now we've just been kind of missing on a couple cylinders, so to speak, and there'll be a game here where we're really hitting really well, and then we haven't come through on the pitching side, or vice versa. We'll be pitching really well, and then we just haven't scored the runs on the certain games. So I think we're going to be coming together here in the next couple of games, putting together some games where we're hitting, we're pitching, everything, we're base running, we're doing everything defensively, and as soon as we get, clicking on all cylinders, I think that's what we need to do, and then we're going to take off after that.
Well, Chase, we really enjoyed it. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
What a great conversation with Chase Huchingson. We want to thank him so much for joining us this week on the podcast. Big thanks to James and Kendrick again, who do a great job when they join me on the podcast each week, as always. Hey everybody, Kevin McMahon once again. And before we let you go, we want to let you know about all the great stuff that's happening at BB&T Point this week. The Rockers have a 4-game series against the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs, which starts on September 2nd, and you need to come out and enjoy. The last couple, I guess school's officially back now, but they say Labor Day is like the little last bit right before summer ends, so you want to come out and spend that Labor Day with the Rockers and then be there as the Rockers continue this playoff push. Only 10 regular season home games left. Can you believe it? I know, it's unbelievable. It's hard to believe, but the first season of High Point Rocker baseball is almost over. Regular season, because that playoff push is coming. Your Rockers are hoping to make a big playoff run, and if they're going to be able to do that, they're going to need the Rocker fans to come out and really support them, especially at home, as they try to pick up some big wins that they are looking for. And it all starts against the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs on Monday, September 2nd, Labor Day. That's a special 4 o'clock start time. So let's let you know what's going on with that. And if you're looking for another reason you want to come out on Labor Day, first of all, it's our Labor Union Appreciation Night, and you can also get a Labor Day 2-pack, which makes for a fun day of baseball. You're going to receive 2 outfield box tickets, a bag of peanuts, and you can enjoy the other things we have going on at the ballpark, which is face painting and balloons, artistry, and all that is $12. So you get the 2 tickets and a pack of peanuts for $12. It's also a merch Monday, so you're going to come to BB&T Point and you go over to the High Point Rockers store over there in the High Pine to see what the special deal is on merchandise Monday. We moved to September 3rd, Tuesday. That's at 6:30. The rest of the games this week are all at 6:30. For a Taco Tuesday, shout out to LeBron James, you can enjoy a $2 taco while watching the Rockers take on Mean Dean Green and the Blue Crabs. Can't forget about Darryl Thompson, the great pitcher for the Blue Crabs, who we got to see recently. Of course, the Blue Crabs also have the former Major Leaguer Matt Latos, so a lot of stars on that team taking on our High Point Rocker stars. And you want to come out and enjoy that. And if you come on Tuesday, you can participate in 2 Can Tuesday. You bring in 2 non-perishable food items and you receive $2 off the price of admission, and that is all thanks to the good folks at the United Way. If you want to look to save a little money here, we got just the thing for you, just the promotion that you've been looking for. It's Cheapskate Night on Wednesday night. Tickets start at $9 and go down from there. If you're looking for a deal, if you're looking for the most bang for your buck, this is the night you need to come out and really experience all the surprises that the Rockers will have in store for you that night. If you're looking for a deal, that is your night. And then on Thursday night, it's the last game of this quick 4-game homestand. And we're giving away 1,000 Frisbees to the first 1,000 fans through the gate. They're going to receive a free Frisbee, courtesy of the great people down at Mayberry. So you're going to get 1,000 fans, 1,000 Frisbees for you. The first 1,000 fans get a Frisbee. It's also 90s night at the ballpark. Am I original? Yeah. Am I the only one? You know, you got to come out to 90s night. I'm sure there's going to be some 90s music going on. Dress up in your best 90s look. You know, maybe some vintage cheese, you know, maybe, I don't know what you got for us, but bring out your best 90s look. I'm going to come to the ballpark using my Skip It. I'll be skipping it in with my Walkman on as well. So we're really looking forward to having you at the ballpark with so many great things going on. It's also a $1 beer night. It's one of the last $1 beer nights, not the last, but one of the last $1 beer nights at BB&T Point. It's the second to last one here in the regular season, so you want to come out and enjoy that as well. So that's all the great stuff we have going on. If you want to be a part of this playoff push the Rockers are on, and you want more information or you want to buy some tickets, you can always go to highpointrockers.com, or you can call the Rockers 336-888-1000. 888-888-1000. So that's 336-888-1000. So that is the way you can get in touch with the Rockers if you have any questions or you want to get some tickets. We hope to see you soon at BB&T Point. The Rockers need you to come out and cheer them on as they try to make it into the playoffs in their very first season. So we'll see you at BB&T Point. Right now, I must bid you adieu, good night, goodbye, and good night. We'll see you at BB&T Point. Thank you so much for listening to another week of the Off the Rocker podcast.